see if we can do it. Build it. Oh. So slow. No, not project landing page. Or something better. This. Seems legit. Let's see.
Hi everyone, my name is Giovanna Proença, and today we're going to do the final project of responsive web design. Of freeCodeCamp, and the name is Build a Personal Portfolio Webpage. So basically our goal is to do a website like this where we have this nav bar, and when we click about we will be redirected to this welcome session. If we click work we will be redirected to this project in here, and if we click on contact we're going to be redirected to the bottom of the page. Here basically we're gonna do everything we've worked so far, okay? So this is a really good way of reviewing what you did and see if you're able to move to the next course, okay? So let's just start. Our first step will be working with the nav bar, okay? This is how our web page looks right now. It's empty, all right? And here we have an empty HTML and an empty CSS file. And we're gonna start building according to what we're seeing in the page, and here adding some IDs and some things they're asking us to do in the user stories, okay? So every time we're creating an HTML file, we have to start with this doc type HTML to tell the browser that we're working with an HTML file. And then we can open up our HTML tag and give the language English. Okay, then, like we always know, HTML contains two tags inside. That is the head, that is everything that is not visual, and the body, that is everything that is visual. So what I mean about visual? So visual, it's everything that we can see here in the screen. Okay, this is the visual part. And the not visual is everything that we can't see. For example, the links we're gonna do with the CSS file or other things we want. Okay, so in here we're gonna create the title of our tab. Okay, so this title means the title of the tab in our Google Chrome, for example. And I wanna say personal portfolio web page. Okay, and then I'm gonna link with our CSS file. So here link, the relationship will be style sheet, and the file we're gonna link is the styles.css. All right, this is everything we need for now. Now let's start working with our navbar. Okay, so basically we're going to create this navbar here in red, okay, with these 3 list items. So to do this, we're going to start writing inside of our body, okay, and basically they're telling us that your portfolio should have a navbar with an ID of navbar. So we're going to start creating this, okay. I'm going to open up the nav tag, so the nav tag will create for us the navbar, and I'm going to give here an ID of navbar. So this way we can pass in the first, in one of the tests, okay? Then inside of our navbar, I'm going to create a unordered list, okay, and the unordered list, it's a list that is not ordered, okay, so basically it's gonna appear some bullet points, and for each list item I'm gonna write it down this part in here. I'm gonna write it down about, work, and contacts, okay. So here in our list item, I'm gonna open up an A tag, okay, to create this hyperlink. Where we click, we are redirected to another page. So when we click work, we wanna be redirected in here. So what is the tag we use? This is the A tag. And here I'm gonna do href empty right now. In the future, we're gonna write it down, the things that we need, okay? And in the first case in here, I'm gonna write it down about. So here, about. And for this, probably this is everything we need, okay? I'm gonna give here our URL, I'm gonna give an ID equals to nav list, okay? To give the list of our navbar. And then I'm gonna copy twice, and I'm gonna change with the name. Name that we have in here, work and contact. So here, work and contact. Okay, so let's see how it looks like so far. So if I open up here the preview, we're able to see here our ordered list. That's why we see the bullet points. And we have here this hyperlink. You see it's a kind of blue. So right now we have the content. Our goal is here, now it's create the style, okay? So we're gonna start working with our styles.css. I'm gonna shrink the instructions. We have here our navbar, okay? So I'm gonna work with the navbar. Here I'm gonna give a navbar ID. What I'm gonna do in our navbar, I'm gonna display flex. Actually, I'm gonna change the background, okay? Background color to this red. And here the red I'm checking is the value hash BE3144. And if we take a look right now, this is our navbar, okay? I'm gonna also add in here the position fixed, okay? Why is that? Because here in the item 11, they're telling us that the navbar should always be at the top of the viewport. So here I'm gonna add position fixed, okay? And I'm gonna give some relation. So our top will always be 0 and our left will always be 0 as well. So we're telling where we wanna start, okay? So that's why this is fixed, okay? And the top is 0, so we're starting in the beginning, and left is 0, starting in the beginning. Now let's use 100% of the width, okay? So here width 100%, and let's see now if it fixed something. Now we have 100% of the width, and I think for now this is it, okay? Now let's start manipulating our unordered list, okay? Actually, before we do this, I want to put our unordered list here in the bottom, right? So to do this, we're gonna use this.
This is the one. Okay.
Display flex, all right. And now the flex, we're gonna do justify content, and I'm gonna use flex end to put in the end. So let's see if it's working. And now here it's in the end. Okay, great. Now let's work with the navbar itself, the list item, because now we have to work with making this way, all right, in white as well. So let's start manipulating this. To do so, first, I'm gonna put everything in a row. So to do so, I'm gonna use the nav list, all right? The nav list is the ID for our unordered list. And here I'm gonna use display flex and flex direction row. I wanna put everything in a row, okay? And like we can see here, they are in a row. They are one inside of the other, but we're gonna fix this soon, okay? Now, how can we fix this because they are one in front of the other? I'm gonna work right now with the A tag, okay? Actually, before working with the A tag, let's remove the bullet point, okay? And here, how can we remove the bullet point? We're gonna do list style none, okay? And if we take a look, now it removed the bullet point, okay? Now let's work with the A tag. Let's remove this hyperlink. So here the A tag, I'm gonna do color white, okay? And here I'm gonna do text decorator none. I think it's text decorator, we can see. I think it's text decoration. Okay, and let's see now. So now we have this in here. Okay, one thing that we can do, we can change the font size, okay, to make it a little bit greater than what we have. So font size in here, and I'm gonna do 2.2 EM. All right, let's see. So now it's this way, this style. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna give a width for our list item, okay? Or I'm gonna give a padding actually. So padding here of 2 REM. And let's see if we have some spacing. And now we can see this space between them, okay? We can work with the hover effect. Do you see here when we hover, we have this aspect of blue. So in here, I'm gonna do a colon hover, and this way we're gonna work with the hover effect. I'm gonna do a background color, and I'm gonna use the background color that we were seeing before. So what is the background color? It's the hash 455670, and this will create the blue pattern for us. So let's see if I hover, nothing is working in here. So let me see, I think I'm using one extra column than it should. Great, so we can see in here, all right? The part in the bottom is not that good, but we're gonna fix in a bit, okay? So how can we fix this? Let me just double check. So now, as we can see how we were able to fix, I added here 1 rem for the vertical and 2 rem for the horizontal in the padding. So here, if we take a look, now it fits exactly how it's supposed to, okay? So now let's fix the font size. Okay, so here I'm gonna get the body tag and I'm gonna give a font family, not font size, sorry, the font family of Poppins. Okay, and then sans serif will be the default if we don't have Poppins. And if we take a look in here, now it's more similar to what we have in here. I think that the font weight here it's too big. Let me see if I use this number here. Now it seems a little bit more similar to what we have in here, right? But that's pretty much what we need. So our nav bar is done. Now we're gonna work with this Hey I Am mimic, okay? But before we do this, let's start creating the 2 divs that we're gonna contain after our nav, okay? So here I'm gonna give a div. So instead of a div, we're gonna create a session actually. And I'm gonna give an ID of welcome session, okay? And then I'm gonna give a class welcome session. They're asking us to do this in our first item, okay? And this will be the session for the welcome, okay? Then we're gonna create another one for projects. So I'm gonna copy this session and I'm gonna replace with projects where we have welcome session. Okay, projects. And the third one will be the where it is. The third one will be the contact. Okay, so here I'm gonna have a contact. And now let's link in here in our href. So since we're using an ID, we can use hash and the name of the session we want to go. So here, welcome session. Here it will be hash projects, and here it will be hash contact. We can barely see the difference, okay? This is just more conceptual, but right now we're gonna work with this, and now in the future we're gonna work with creating the other parts, okay? If we run the test, we're gonna fail multiple of them, but we're passing in the welcome session, we're passing in the projects, okay? We're passing in the navbar, and here in everything we had in our navbar, it's passing, okay? And the navbar should always be in the top. So now we can work with the other ones, okay? So now let's start working with the welcome session. So now for this session, if we take a look, it's just a page in this dark gray where we have, hey, I am Mimic, and the paragraph, I am a developer. So I'm gonna copy this, okay, and I'm gonna do exactly this inside of our welcome session. I'm gonna open up an H1 where I'm gonna paste this message, and I'm gonna have a paragraph. Where I'm gonna paste this message, I'm a web developer, okay? And then we just need to work with the structure of the style part. And this is what we're seeing here, okay? We're not able to see the high-end mimic because it's hidden behind the navbar, but we're gonna fix this, don't worry. So let's start working with our style, okay? So let me shrink the instructions. Now we're gonna work with the welcome session. So let's create here the structure for welcome session. I'm gonna create here welcome section, and I'm gonna start creating a width of 100%, okay? And the height, I wanna use 100% of the height that we have available in our screen. So here I'm gonna do 100 VH, that will give us 100% of the screen, okay? So let's see so far. Here we're able to see this, okay? I wanna put in the center to make so we can see what is going on. So I'm gonna do display flex, and then I'm gonna say flex direction column, because I wanna put the H1 above the paragraph. And I'm gonna use align items center to center in the vertical alignment, and justify content to center in the horizontal alignment, okay? And if we take a look in here, now it's in the center. Okay, now let's work with the background color. Okay, let's use this background color that we're seeing here. So I'm gonna do background color, and this background color will be a hash 000, okay? And let's see. So now it's full dark, okay? But I see that we have some border in here, right? So I'm gonna use 100 VW. Let's see if we change something. No, it's because we have to remove the border. So I'm gonna remove the border in our body. So margin 0, padding 0. Let's see. Okay, now we fit the whole. margin 0, padding 0. Let's see. Okay, now we fit the whole screen. But you see that it's not full dark. We have this shade of gray in here, so we're gonna use something to make this linear gradient, if you remember from the previous projects. So we're gonna have here background image, okay, and we're gonna set linear gradient. Okay, I want to use 62 degrees. Here you can choose the angle you want. Let me put this in multiple lines. Okay, I want to use 62 degrees. I want to start from this value here, 3A, that is kind of a black 3D 40 at 0%. And I want to go to 18, 17, 19 on 100%. Okay, so let's see how it looks like. Now we have the same kind of gray that we have in here in this page. Okay, do you see the similarities? Now let's work with the colors and the font size. So now we're gonna work. Okay, do you see the similarities? Now let's work with the colors and the font size.
Let's see.
Okay, so let's see how it looks like. Now we have the same kind of gray that we have in here in this page. Okay, do you see the similarities? Now let's work with the colors and the font size. So now we're gonna work with the H1. Okay, so for this H1, I'm gonna give a color white. And we can see here that now it's white, but it's too little. So let me get here the value we're gonna use. We're gonna use
Sure, but
use something to make this linear gradient, if you remember from the previous projects. So we're gonna have here background image, okay, and we're gonna set linear gradient. Okay, I want to use 62 degrees. Here you can choose the angle you want. Let me put this in multiple lines. Okay, I want to use 62 degrees. I want to start from this value here, 3a.
record. Mm-hmm. I like red and orange. Yeah. I'm good with that.
That is kind of a black 3D 40 at 0%. And I want to go to 8. So let's see how it. Okay, do you see the similarities? Now let's work with the colors and the font size. So now we're gonna work with the H1. Okay, so for this H1, I'm gonna give a color white. And we can see here that now it's white, but it's too little. So let me get here the value we're gonna use. We're gonna use the font size of 6 REM. And let's see, now it's big, the way that we were expecting, but I think it's too big. Let me see. Now it seems the same way. And we can get
Hey, it's me.
give a font weight. So here font weight of 700. So this font weight will make this bolder. Font weight. Okay, we cannot see much, but this is pretty much what we need. Okay, now let's work with the paragraph. So this paragraph in here, I'm gonna do a hash welcome session P, and here I'm gonna give a color of, let's see the color of this paragraph. It's the same one that we used in the background, so I'm gonna copy this color in here. Great. And the font size will be 2 REM. Okay, let's see. Nice. But I want to make this italic.
What color should I use? Okay. Let's see. No. Kinda like the white one. So I believe I can use the white one.
So I'm gonna change the font style to italic. Okay, let's see how it looks like. So this is what we have in here. I think this is good. We don't need to do exactly the same that we have in here. All right, I'm just
Come on. Yeah. Okay.
just gonna change the font weight to 100. I don't want to make it bold. So now it's the same font weight. Okay, and this is pretty much what we need. Now let's work with these are some of the projects. Let's create these cards that we're seeing in here. So now let's create this step here, okay? This blue part with these are my projects. We're gonna start creating the H2 for this message, okay? So I'm gonna create here in H2 with this message. Great. And then I'm gonna create a div that I'm gonna put all my projects inside. Okay, so I'm gonna create here a div and I'm gonna give a class called grid. Okay, and all of my projects will be inside of here. So this will store all the projects. Then I'm gonna call projects grid just to be projects grid. Now we're gonna create the card. Okay, so now we have to work with each particular card. So we're gonna work with the first card and then I'm gonna just copy and paste the structure for the other ones. Okay, so how can we do this? Here I'm gonna create a div. Actually, if you see, this is something important. Everything's under href, so all of the div is it's clickable. So I'm gonna create a tag first, href, and in here I'm gonna let empty right now. Okay, and inside of this href I'm gonna create a div that we're gonna contain the things we want. Okay, so in here I'm gonna start adding a image. Okay, I'm gonna start creating the image in here. So image src equals to, right now I'm gonna let empty and the alt message as well. Okay, just to create the image. Let's see if we're able to check. So here it's our div. Okay, about and work is being redirected. Great. Now let's create this part of the message. Okay, and then we have a paragraph that I'm gonna give a class. Here in the image, I'm gonna give a class equals to project image. Okay, and then we can work with this image. Here in the paragraph, I'm gonna call project title. Okay, and then in the project, I'm gonna write it down the project title. So for example, tribute page. This is our first project that we have in here, right? Tribute page. And I'm gonna get this image and I'm gonna put in there. Okay, so I will be adding the image in here and then we can start working with this style. So I just copied here the link of this image. Okay, you can have access if you open up here the developer tools. So far our project is looking like this. It's not the best project that we have, so let's work with the CSS. Okay, so we're working here with the first card. Later on, we're gonna copy and paste if everything is working fine, okay? So let's start working with our project session. So here I'm gonna call our class projects, and I'm gonna give a text align center because we wanna put this text in the center. Okay, let's see, now it's in the center, great. I'm gonna change the background color here, background color, and I'm gonna use the hash, the same color that we used before for the blue part. So I'm gonna copy this for the blue part of the hover. Okay, and let's see, now we have this structure. I will see here what is going on, why we have this space. So let me see if I add here a margin 0. Let's see. Okay, nothing changes. I'm gonna add a padding of 10 rem and 2 rem. Let's see if this fixes something. So now we don't have this space anymore. Okay, and we can see here tribute. Page. This is not how it's supposed to look like, okay, but we're gonna fix, don't worry. Now let's work with the text in here. Let's make this work. So for the h2, I'm gonna give in here a head.projects h2. I wanna give a font font size of 4.2 rem. Let's see. So now it's bigger. Okay, actually 3.2, I think it's better. And we also want to change the color to white. So here color white, okay, and then we have this, and in here we have the same, okay. The margin in here I'm gonna try to set margin 0 just to check nothing happened. It's okay. We have our space in there. I will probably shrink this a little bit to 8. Okay, nothing changes much, but it's okay. So now we have our text. Now let's work with the card. Okay, let's create the card in here. So for the card, we have our A tag, okay, and for this A tag, let me see one thing. Here for the A tag, we're gonna have the text decoration none, we don't need this. I'm gonna work with the size of the image. So here, for our class images, project image, I wanna set a height where we're gonna calculate depending on the size of the screen, okay? And to do this, we can use calc 100% minus 6.8 rem, okay, and let's see. Now it shrink a little bit, okay. .8 rem, okay, and let's see. Now it shrink a little bit, okay. The width will be 100% of the size of the div, okay, and object fit to cover because we want to make the image cover whatever we're using in here, okay. That's it. Now we're gonna work with the A tag that we're working in here, and actually someone will be working with this A tag. Let's work with the project title, okay? Because I think we can create this space in here. So for the project title, I'm gonna have in here dot project title. And what do we want? If we see in here, we want this to be in white, so color white, width 100%, and the background color, I'm gonna use the dark background color that we have. So it will be basically let me get in here the color, hash 13, 38, 41. So this will be basically how it will look like. It's not the best one, okay, like I said, but it will fix. spacing, and here padding of 2 em. Let's see. Okay, we can see it later, don't worry. Okay, now let's copy and paste the other href. We're gonna do this 5 more times. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great, so now we have 6, okay? But they are not in the correct position, right? Right, so now we're gonna work with the project grid to make it fit. So I'm gonna use our div here, this projects grid. And what are we gonna do in that? Okay, so to do this, we're gonna start creating a grid. So display grid, okay. And let's see what changes here. They are in a grid right now. All right, then we're gonna give a grid template column. So this way we're gonna say how many cards we want in each row. So here template column will be repeat, auto fit the screen, and min max of 320 pixels, 1 FR. Okay, grid template, I think I didn't write it down the letter N. Okay, let's see what happens. So now we're fitting our screen this, I think I didn't write it down the letter N. Okay, let's see what happens. So now we're fitting our screen this way. If I didn't write it down the letter N. Okay, let's see what happens. So now we're fitting our screen this way. If we shrink, it will shrink together. Okay, so now we can see the 6 projects we had in there. Then I want to have a grid gap. So this is space of 4 REM. Let's see, now we have this space in there. Okay, I want to get a width of 100%. Okay, so we're getting 100% of the screen, and I want to have a max width of 1280 pixels a margin of 0 and auto, so this probably will be in the center. This is the meaning of that, and a margin bottom of 6 rem. Okay, so this is what we have here so far. All right, now we just need to fix the title. Title here that is not looking nice. So if I remove this in here, let's see. Now we have the same step that we have in there, but now we have to make them closer. So let's work with that. So how can we fix this? Basically, we have this. This space between the image and the text, right? So I'm gonna give here in the title a margin 0, okay? Now they are next to each other, and I'm gonna give a padding for the title as well. So padding, I'm gonna give a padding only in the vertical alignment, so 2 rem and 0. And now if we take a look, we have now the structure that we have in here. Okay, that's it so far. I will also change here for to change the size of the image. Okay, so now we have the way that we're seeing here. Okay, now what you can do, now that you have this card, you can change the image, you can change the href, you can change the text according to your project. Okay, in my case, I'm not worried about displaying the projects correctly. I just want to create here the style so you can understand how you can do this. All right, so now we're gonna move on for the contact that we are missing. So I did the testings in here and I checked that I used the The word project title, but it should be projectile. So let's fix this first, okay? Where I have project title, I will change to projectile. So here I'm gonna use Command D 6 times, and I'm gonna remove the letter T, okay? And here to remain our style, I'm gonna change here to projectile again, okay? So let's run the test one more time. If I run the test, we're supposed to pass at least the final part. Great. So now we're gonna work with creating the contact part. Okay, so for the contact, we're gonna build this part in here, okay? I'm not gonna do all the icons. This is something that I want you to do. I'm just gonna work with creating one link so we can pass the test, okay? So how can we do this here? If we scroll down, we're gonna work down with the contact page. Okay, and we're gonna have in here two divs. One div where I'm gonna add this message, and another div where you can add the icons, okay? So here, I'm gonna do a div ID equals to contact header, for example. All right, and we're gonna have here a div ID equals to contact links. Okay, and this is pretty much what we have in here. The first thing we're gonna add a h2, and we're gonna display this message in here that we're seeing in this part. Let's work together. Okay, so let's add in here, and then we're gonna work with a paragraph. So here paragraph, and we're gonna display this message: how do you take your coffee? Okay, and let's see how it looks like. If I put this in here and I click in contact, it will redirect us here. Here in the bottom, and we can barely see what is going on, but don't worry. Okay, so let's start manipulating the style. Actually, let's continue working here with the div contact links. No, let's just start manipulating the style. I think it's the best way. So for this, let me scroll down here for contact to create our contact. Okay, so here hash contact. I'm gonna give a background color of the gray that we were using before, so 30, 38, 41. Okay, and if we see here, we have now this background color. I will also give giving here a width of 100% and a height of 80 VH. Okay, so let's see how it looks like. Now we have this part. Let me remove the border that we have between the project and this page. So we're gonna get this margin 0. Let's try it out with margin 0. Let's see, we're not removing, and probably if we give a padding it will remove. So if I use here padding 0 to REM, let's see, we don't have this yet. And if I give here 1 REM, let's see, now we don't have this border anymore. Great, let's move on. So now I want to put everything in the center, so I'm going to use a display flex direction column, justify content center, and align items center as well. Okay, so let's see. Now things are here in the center. Let's change now the color and the font size. So here I'm gonna use a hash contact and I'm gonna change the H2 here to color white. Okay, let me just double check the font size of this. Here I'm gonna give a font size of 6 rem, font size of 5 rem. Now we have this in here, at least we should. Why we are not accessing? Actually, I'm gonna remove this and I'm gonna change all the H2 to this H2 that we were using here because we're gonna remain pretty much the same. Okay, so let's work together. And here we have the say, hey, there are some projects that we can work, okay? Now let's work with the paragraph. So here, if I use here dot contact paragraph P, sorry, we're gonna give a color white. Okay, let's see another thing. It's italic and so font style italic. Font weight, I want to use 100 because I want to make it thin, okay, and we're not accessing this. So let me give here, it's not inside of contact, it's inside of dot contact header, and then it's inside of the paragraph, and we're still not changing. So I'm going to create here a contact slash p, and I'm going to give this ID for this paragraph. ID equals to contact slash p. Okay, now it is supposed to change, I think. I give an ID, I have to use a hash. Alright, so now we have this in here. Let's put in the center, so align text align center, and this is pretty much what we need. We can also change the font size. So font size, and let me see the font size that we can properly use. I'm gonna give a font size. Let me see for the other paragraph. If we're using here let me see the H2. We're using H2 3.2. So in this case, I'm gonna try to use 2 REM. And let's see. Probably it's too big, right? So what if we use 1? REM. 1 is too little. I'm gonna use 1.7. And now it looks a little bit better. Okay, so now they are pretty similar. We just need to work with this link in here, do some changes, and then we're pretty done with the project. So now we need to create here the hyperlink that it's missing, and you can do whatever you prefer, okay? Just to make our life easier, I'm gonna create here an ahref. They are telling us to give an ID of profile link, okay? So ID equals to profile link. And they're telling us to use this blank equals to, the target equals to blank. So here, target equals to underline blank, okay? And this will not open up in a new page. And then I'm gonna write it down here GitHub, but you can write it down whatever you prefer, but it will create here an hyperlink so the user click and it can find us. Okay, so you're gonna add this. In your contact. You can add the Facebook, GitHub, Twitter, send an email, call me, whatever you prefer, all right? And this is pretty much what we need. So let's see, if we run the test, we're supposed to pass in almost everything, not one. So here we're passing the portfolio, profile link, and this target equals to blank. Now we're missing to add at least one media query. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna add a media query in the case where we have, if I open up the preview in here, in the case where we don't have our page is not in a big screen, okay? So what I wanna do, I wanna do the following, let's see. My projects here, it's in a column, okay? I will do something pretty, here, I already see one bug that we can fix. I will change the font size of the contact page, what do you think? So the font size of contact page, we know that the H2 for contact, I'm gonna change the H2 for everything. So here in the H2, I'm gonna add an add media and I'm gonna have a mag. Max width of 80 pixels, for example. And I'm gonna change the font size of our H2. So here H2 font size of 2 REM. Okay, so let's see in here. Now that we added this, the font size is a little bit smaller, and now we can see it better. And you can also change other things. I think I'm just gonna expand a little bit more, great. And this way it's not so little. All right, and now let's run the test and see if we pass in everything. So if I run the test, we're supposed to pass, and that's it. So this is the project. Okay, if you enjoyed this content, please give us a thumbs up.
That's it, guys. And this is how the certification looks.